Hey there, and welcome back to math. And today we're going to be working with mixed numbers again, except that now we're going to be subtracting mixed numbers. So we're going to start with 6 and 3/5, and we're going to subtract 1/3. So I've drawn a picture for us so we can kind of start to mentally figure out like how this is actually working. Instead of combining these mixed numbers together, now we're like taking a mixed number and we're taking part of it away, our subtraction part. So we have 6 and 3/5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole and 3/5 down here. And I want to subtract this 1/5. So in my picture, how could I make that look by subtracting it? Well, subtracting is taking off, so I'm going to just X off that 1/5. So I can X this off, and now I can easily see that I still have 6, but now I just have 2/5 left over. So we have 6 and 2/5. Whoop, yeah, did I write that right? Yep, 6 and 2/5 left over. Okay, now if I was going to do this in my algorithm part, I kind of like to stack it up this way so that I can see, oh, I'm subtracting my fraction part first, and then I'm going to subtract my whole number part next. 3 subtract 2, or 3 subtract 1 is 2, and my denominator stays the same because that's telling me how many pieces it takes to make a whole. And now I'm going to subtract my whole. 6 subtract nothing is still 6. So we can see with the picture and with our algorithm how that's really working. Okay, now let's try another problem that kind of gets a little more tricky. If we have 2 and 1/3 and we want to subtract off 2/3. All right, and I'm going to do my t-chart again just so that we can see this picture kind of happening in our head and visualize it better. So we have 2 wholes, and they're both there, so I'm going to quickly fill those all the way in, and I have 1/3. And these are thirds, so I'm going to break it into 3 pieces there, and I have 1 of them, so I'm going to fill in my 1. Okay, and in my problem, I'm now taking away 2 of those third pieces. So I'm going to start to X them off, and here I go. I've got 1. Oh, hang on. How am I going to X off another 1 when I have a hole there? How am I going to do that? Well, I guess I'm going to have to break apart this whole and cut it into my third pieces, right? So I'm going to just break that into thirds because really all of these are thirds. They're just all together making a whole, right? So now I can X off that other 1/3 piece. So I took off 1/3 and 1/3. There's my 2/3 that I'm taking away. And now what do I have left? I still have 1 whole left, but this whole got broken apart, didn't it? So now I have 1 whole plus 2/3 left. So my answer would be 1 and 2/3. Okay, well now how does this work in our algorithm then? If I have 2 and 1/3 and I'm subtracting it with my 2/3, how am I going to do that over here? What is that going to look like? How am I going to make this, breaking this whole piece apart to subtract here? Because if I just try to subtract and I start with 1 and I try to subtract 2 from 1, I can't do that. So I'm going to have to borrow from the wholes in a sense, okay? So we could say, all right, well, I'm going to borrow this whole and I'm going to make it a 1. And I'm going to take this whole and I'm going to break it apart into, what does it take to make a whole if I'm talking about thirds? 3/3 or 3/3, right? So I have my 3/3, I just took that whole, and I'm going to add that together with my 1/3 that I had there. It's kind of like I'm adding these 2 parts together, okay? and that's going to make 1 plus 3 is 4 thirds. So that's how we are getting that 4 thirds pieces. And now I can subtract it, can I? And now I have 4 thirds, and I can take 2 thirds away from that. So 4 subtract 2 is 2 thirds. And now I need to subtract my whole numbers. It's no longer a 2 because I borrowed that over and used it in my fraction pieces. Now I can take 1 and subtract nothing from it and get 1. And voila, we get the same answer. All right,